Greetings, Islander fans. Greetings, hockey fans. Welcome to episode 10, season 6 of Isles Talk here. My name is Paul Kreischer. I'm one of your hosts here this evening. Joining me, as always, is Gary Harding. Gary, how are you?
Paul, how you doing tonight, sir?
Well, tonight I'm doing much better than we did last week. And last week we have to apologize, boys and girls. Um, Joe had some business stuff he had to take care of. My voice sounded like I swallowed sandpaper. And Gary also had some business stuff that he had to get done with as well. But we were not going to be able to get to you guys last week, so we apologize for that. But
Well,
we
we're
are
here.
here now. Yep, we're here now. And listen, we're going to do just a quick segment here, and we're going to take your questions throughout the show. It's a brand new segment. What we miss? Um, Basically over the last 2 weeks since the Islanders have played. But I gotta say, there are some things that I'm actually impressed with this team. The record could still be better, granted, but Gary and I are going to talk about that over the next hour or so. Joe may or may not be joining us. As you know, there is a storm outside, pretty much in our area here in the Northeast. I do know there is some power outages around in my area, but I'm good so far. So if I black out, no pun
You're stuck with
intended.
me.
Yeah, you are stuck with Gary for a little while. If I don't come back on, that's what happened. So, um, Gary, give me your
Cool.
thoughts over the last 2 weeks. With this Islander team before I go into the standings with everybody else. Give me your thoughts. You've been to quite a
Well,
few home games.
yeah, a bunch of home games. I basically consider the Islanders hockey's version of a sine curve. You remember your algebra and trigonometry? You remember that sine curve, how it goes
Yep.
like that in a wave, and that's what we're doing. You're winning, we're losing, we're winning, we're losing. We're finding new ways to make silly things, and some bright things have been happening. And hearing the sounds of numbers 11, 13, and 3 starting to get ready. As we said a couple of weeks ago, treading water. We
Yep.
are treading water. And yes, would we like to be better? Of course we would. But you know what? As Paul and I will get into over the next half hour or so, a lot of teams are not where they expected to be. We go back to mid-September and look at our predictions and look what we said was going to happen. No one would have thought some of these things are going on the way they are. So, that's what makes the game so great. We can predict all we want, but
Gotta play the
not many
season.
people. Not maybe exactly. A season happens. Players get hurt. Things happen. Suspensions, all this other stuff. But as I said, and we'll talk about, and Paul will get into more depth about it, is that you know, we may feel like our team is garbage and going for the bottom, but there's some hope. So just like we said, we're hanging on. And that's the good thing until the reinforcements come back in the room.
Right. Beautiful. So, all
Thank you.
right, let's get into this real quick. So, listen, beginning of the season. And this is why I love doing the season preview with Gary and Joe here. There is a little bit of work done before the season gets started, and one of the things I said to everyone is don't look at the standings until game 30 this year. This is going to be a very weird Eastern Conference, Western Conference, um, and it has been just that. Um, so I'm going to dip into that real quick. You've got every team, boys and girls, 1 through 16, having a shot at the playoffs right now as we approach game 30. I can tell you right now, this is the first time in 6 years that we've been doing this on air. And this is the first time in 10 years that I've been doing this personally, playing the percentages the way I have, that I cannot eliminate a single team from playoff contention. First time ever. Normally, we're all over the place. We have at least 2 or 3 teams we can absolutely knock off, no doubt about it. Can't do it. I can't do it. If you take a look at the top teams in the Eastern Conference, you're looking at the Capitals, Carolina, credit to Joe again, and the Florida Panthers. The Capitals are playing like a first place team in the conference. They are where they are supposed to be, point percentage wise, with 121.
And without their best player.
And
Think
with
about that, boys and girls.
right. That's another long story that I will save for another time, maybe over the summer when we have to talk about the draft. Carolina and Florida, believe it or not, since the grind got started at around game 20, they're on pace for both 108 and 107 points, respectively, but they're underperforming for second and third place teams in the conference. As I'm looking at it now, throw in the Leafs as well at number 4. 2, 3, and 4 are underperforming in the Eastern Conference. The Devils on pace for 103. They're right where they're supposed to be. And then everything drops after that. Tampa with 95. Boston with 90. The Rangers with 88. We'll get into the Rangers a little later on. All 3 of those teams falling under expectations from where they're supposed to be. And then you have the bottom, 9 through 16, which is interesting here because those are the teams with the most ties. Those are the teams with the most overtime losses. But yet some of them are maybe 1 regulation loss or 2 regulation losses away from both Boston and the Rangers. A lot of these teams don't have regulation wins yet, but they're keeping themselves alive in the playoffs for a playoff run for now because they're not losing in regulation.
Right.
That's huge. That's big. So for me right now, and I think Charles said it before, we're a 500 team with 3 big additions coming back soon. But before we talk about those 3 big additions, I have to say that I'm very impressed with the fact that we're finally starting to see the younger core of the Islanders starting to quote unquote get it. Slowly, but getting it. Your Siplikovs, your Holmstroms, your Wallstroms, your McLeans. You're all hearing them for all the right reasons now. Wallstrom is still a work in progress, no doubt. I don't include Isaiah George yet as a young core because this is a kid thrown into a position where there should be no expectations put on him at all. And he's exceeding expectations for what he's doing right now, which is just trying to play his game. But for me, Gary, seeing these younger kids finally, get some time, get some confidence, they're helping out while the big 3 are still recovering.
Absolutely. And I'll put big emphasis on this, on Simon Holmstrom, to me. He has, even when I saw him play in Bridgeport, where he's playing in the AHL with similar competition, similar abilities, he still didn't play his weight, play his size.
Right.
And we know last year, although he had the 15 goals and did well on the penalty kill and all that, he still didn't play his size. And for about the first 4 or 5 games, he still didn't.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, it's like you said, the bells and the whistles just clicked in his head. And all of a sudden, bang, he was going into the board, going into corners, coming out with the puck, hiding the puck well when he's being pushed around in the corner. There's been a lot of things I've seen in him, which I'm going, wow, it's really there. But this team is still stake fit, with the offensive bug. But yeah, he's getting it. I've liked Wally's play the last couple of games. Last night's wasn't the greatest, but I have seen an improvement. I've seen somebody, as you said, getting it. He's been a little more free flowing to get that snapshot off, and when it's off, it's been good. So I've appreciated that. McLean, he never takes off a shift. He just doesn't. He's again a junior disciple of Casey, an Energizer bunny that just won't stop moving, and you need that. Yeah. So again, I'm very, very pleased with that. Grant Hutton has come, looking on the defensive side, Grant Hutton has come in, and I think he's been doing a nice job. Not great, but he's a simple guy, will play the body when he needs to, and does the right thing. Chalowski too has been doing the right things. I don't think he's made as many glaring mistakes, as some of the others, but again, but the last thing I want to talk about on the defensive side is I think also that Noah started to turn a corner too.
I agree.
think he's missed a lot of the beginning of the season because I think he was just, I don't know. You look at body language, and again, I always look at it, and it seems like he just lost his way. He lost his he lost his mojo, if you will. They had ability to come up from behind his own blue line, bring that puck up all the way up to the other side of the blue line, find a lane, get a shot through, or find that little slick pass to get through. Last couple of games, that's starting to come into play. We're seeing last year's Noah Dobson starting to come. When he gets that shot firing up, then he's back. So granted, we're still dealing with all those situations of, when our three guys come back, but you just have to think about it as we held above water, but it's almost like getting a trade. We just made a big trade for nothing and got three guys back. So be patient. It's coming.
Right. And I'm just going to address this real quick. Unfortunately, this is from Mark. Unfortunately, a top 3 finish in the Metro is a pipe dream for us now. I agree with that, Mark. But I'm also going to say this. At the beginning of the season, I had said that this was the Rangers division to lose. And boy, are they losing it. Okay. If not, they already lost it. All right. So that's part 1. Part 2 is if it's not the Rangers, the regular season is not going to determine your Metro winner. If you understand what I mean. The Rangers took first place. The Rangers went to the conference finals. They were your divisional winners, even though that was supposed to be Carolina last year. There is no undisputed Metro winner right now. It's going to take, because of the standings of where everything is right now, it's going to take these playoffs to decide and where you're going to rank each of these Metro teams moving forward. I'm also, I don't know. Do we want to address George right now?
Yeah, we could.
Okay. Mark, only because I see Mark. I know a couple of you mentioned this already. Who goes down when Pelech comes back? Hutton, Chalowski, or George? I would say for now, I think it might be George. Because there have been a few plays, and again, it's not anything George's fault here. You have some savvy veteran forwards who are taking advantage of Isaiah's inexperience in the NHL. And they're doing some savvy veteran moves on him, and they're taking advantage. And I'm not just talking about the LA game. There are just times when forwards get into certain positions that Isaiah isn't ready for. He responds well, but he's not he's getting himself into trouble just by being who he is. It's not Isaiah at all. If you guys understand where I'm coming from. For me, if he goes down to the minors, and we've said this before, he is a coach's dream. Okay. If you were to send Isaiah George down, you go to him and you say, look, you did nothing wrong. You were phenomenal. We need you to work on this, this, and this. Because when we do make the playoffs, you're getting called up. We need you ready for the playoffs. So if you can work on this, and it may not even be this, this, and this. It may just be this, and it may be this. Okay? He'll go down there. He'll work it off for the year. He'll work on what he needs to work on, and he'll be ready. Even if the Islanders are making another playoff push, and you can bring players up by then, he's coming up. You can give him that confidence. You can tell him something like that, and his confidence won't get deflated. He knows he's coming back up. He knows he still has some work to do. He's going to work on it. But again, Chalowski has a little more offense than Isaiah George does. Hutton, like Gary just said, plays a little more of a basic defensive game, more of the physical game than George can. You can flip-flop those two whenever you need them to play in, against depending on the oppositions. With Isaiah, send him down to the minors. You can bring him up whenever you want. But it's certainly not right.
And have him play 22, 23 minutes a game.
Absolutely.
You put him in every situation. You put him on the kill. You put him on the power play. You do everything he needs to do.
I agree, George. Or Charles, excuse me. Yeah. Less spots for us to make it, but let me tell you, we'll get into that later. The Isles are not going anywhere, guys. They're not. If Patrick Waugh can find out the line combinations when Barzell and Anthony Duclair, damn it, Anthony Duclair come back. This is what I get for following prospects. Anthony Duclair come back. Look, this is going to be a solid line. This is going to be on Patrick Waugh when the lines come back. Yeah, see, I wouldn't send either one of them down.
No.
I wouldn't send either one of them down.
Keep them on the roster. They're not making much. You can keep them on the roster. You're going to have to.
Right.
This way you got 23 guys.
Right.
You'll be fine. And this way they'll get their reps up here. Again, you'll flip-flop them game to game, obviously, if needed. And you let Isaiah do his thing. I mean,
right.
I'm sure when he woke up on opening of training camp in September, if he could imagine at Christmas time that he's up here playing 18 minutes a game minus last night with the big club, you would have been telling you're absolutely out of your mind.
Right. No doubt. And good for the kid. But again, don't put any pressure on any of these rookies. I say that every year whenever they come up. I don't care if it was Holmstrom, Wallstrom, Bellows, George, Dobson. Don't put any kind of pressure or expectation. Let them learn the game so that way, when they find their game, we can just call them by their first name. Oh, this, Oliver Wallstrom is this. Noah Dobson is this. Isaiah George is still trying to find that. Give him a little more.
We don't have the Macklin Celebrini, or we don't have the Connor Bedard on the team that you can let him go. And that's not a problem. It's fine.
No.
You just have to make sure that they're progressing at the level they need to do.
Correct.
And again, like you said, there's going to be days where Isaiah's going to have a clunker, and he did. He did. It didn't make a drastic kill to this team, that game last night. Yes, he made some bad plays. Did it really hurt? Not really, but you can see it. We all could see it in the stands. We all knew. But he, should he feel anything bad for it? Hell no.
No, not at all. Jeff, do me a favor. Let's talk about this during water cooler talk. We don't have to put Gary through all of this. I'll go through questions like this for you guys during water cooler talk. That's fine. But
what are you saying, Paul?
we've been through this. We've been through that discussion far too many times.
Yes, way too many.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's just no, a full-on rebuild is not going to work. So, um, so yeah, those are the standings. The Islanders are not out of it. And folks, I'm not going to lie. If things continue to go the way they are, I'm looking at Game 50 to actually eliminate teams. Unless there's a rash of injuries, happening to other teams, and they just start dropping. Um, we don't eliminate probably until the trade deadline. And I've never said that before. And I'm talking all 16 teams in the Eastern Conference. Granted, some of them are probably going to slowly die down here, but again, it's going to be up to Patrick Waugh to get those lines right. God help everybody. God help everybody. If the Islanders' offense begins to gel, that's it. I am. I keep pushing and again, I wish. Believe me, no one has more fun than eliminating teams, especially by Game 10, than me, Brian. You of all people know better than that. I love eliminating teams. I love making fun of other fans when their team's eliminated by like Game 10. I already did that with a few Blackhawk fans. Okay. I can't do that right now in the Eastern Conference. I would love to do it to the Ranger fans. Let me tell you. Oh, my Ranger family have not called me out yet. They haven't hung the phone up on me yet. They haven't disowned me for the season. Hasn't happened yet, but we're getting close to it. I'm gonna tell you right now. Losing a tough spot. No, he's not. If we're 4 points out of a final playoff spot at the trade deadline, what's he do with Palms and Nelson? He's definitely keeping Nelson. You're not trading away a center when you're still in a playoff hunt. As far as Paul Mary goes, it's got to be a sweetener. You blow me out of the water. If you're going to give me a first round pick, you're going to give me a prospect. Okay, maybe. You're going to give me a couple of draft picks and a prospect. Okay.
And the way things are working right now, with the parity, that Paul hasn't pulled the team out yet, you may not want to do that if you're 4 points out.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have the need. You've got a legitimate player. You'd have to get an all-star back.
Right.
So I don't think at that point, if they're that close. And again, everybody says, "Oh, Lou doesn't trade anybody." But this is not something you'd want to do. The one thing, even though these guys are not doing as well as they are in the standings, and you hear it about other teams, but I know for a fact with these guys, these 20 to 23 guys in the room are that close. They are close together amazingly. There is nothing in that locker room that tears them apart. Even the bad play of somebody, they're with each other. They're tapping them on the shoulder. You got this. It's a great locker room in there.
Right.
And you hear that it's not cliche when they're talking that way.
No.
When they're talking about a good locker room, and believe me, I've been in some pretty bad locker rooms. But from what I hear from talking with a few of my connections, they said it's extremely close. You may not, and that chemistry is a hard thing to kill.
That's one of the reasons why Patrick Waugh took the job, guys. That the locker room itself was one of the reasons why he took the job. He knows how tight knit the locker room is. He knows everyone's on the same page, and now everyone's trying to get on his page. Some players aren't, but the rest of them are, and we'll see what happens as the season progresses. Do we think Cizikas has anything left in the tank? That's a great question. It's a valid question. Do I think Casey should be center or winger moving forward? I think that's going to have to be a question that's going to be addressed in the offseason. Does Kyle McLean take over? It's a valid question. I don't know if it can be answered right now.
I'll honestly say that I think his face-off numbers have been down. I mean, we are first in the league in face-off percentage, and I
Right.
think Casey's the worst of them. And that was one of his big qualities was his handling faceoffs and winning them at critical times. But this
Right.
year, it just hasn't been as lucky with that as he's been in the
Right.
past.
Right.
So that's a tough decision. And Kyle's actually been doing pretty good in the faceoff. I'm gonna check the numbers on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take this question real quick. Any friction between Lou and Wah? Kind of like they could be possible. Look, when Wah said, "This is the team Lou gave me," no kidding. He came into this team halfway through the season last year. What do you expect him to say? Did everyone expect massive changes last summer? This is the team that he was handed with. It's Wah's job, and he's basically saying this. Wah said, "It's my job to get the job done. It's my job to get this team as far as they can." That doesn't sound like there's friction there. He's kind of blunt and to the point. No, I don't think there is any friction there. Go
Yeah, just to give you, I just got the information here.
ahead.
On faceoff percentage, and I'm only looking at the top 6. Yeah, 6, because they've gotten over 100. They've had over 100, 200 faceoffs. So Pajot's at 58.5, Horvat's at 58.5. Sipakov's only done 11 faceoffs or whatever. He's at 54. Nelson's at 54. McLean's at 52. And Cizikas is now over. He was at one point at 45. He's now
Right.
coming in at 50.7. So he's
Right.
3 more than half. So,
Right.
and again, number 1 in the league. You're
Right.
looking, all 5 of your major faceoff takers are all over 50%.
Right.
That's a damn good number.
Yeah.
Considering last year, I think we're 54.8 total. And
Right.
last year, I think we were in like the 47 range. You think 7% more faceoffs when you have 30 to 40 in a game, that's 10 extra times you're having possession of the puck
Right.
after the play's dropped.
Right. And Jeff, I'm going to answer this question. Dobson must improve his play, no question. And I agree with that, no question. But I also want to see if Dobson improves his play when Matthew Barzal returns. Because there's always a connection between Dobson and Barzal, especially on the power play. How much has Noah Dobson missed Matthew Barzal?
Big. Huge.
That's what I'm waiting for. I know a lot of you love to nitpick certain players like we're actually in an expansion team, but we're not at the moment. We're missing a few key players where chemistry is a very big factor.
And that's why you can't, that we, would urge you or, say you really shouldn't start judging and making moves when you don't have your full capacity.
Right.
And granted, it was only 5 games we had it.
Right.
But they didn't look, by game 5, it was starting to look like the top line was in full form and it made the rest of the lines do better. So
Right.
I think we were in, I think this team will be in okay shape once everybody gets healthy.
When does Jeffrey get called up? Not until next year, Mark. Don't even start that crap. See?
Oh God, here we go.
See, these are the ones that I'm personally friends with on Facebook, and now they're just trying to piss me off. No. Jeffries is not allowed to come up. Let Jeffries continue to play. Quinn Finley is good.
He's doing well.
Yes. He's doing very well in Bridgeport. He's got that snipe. It's working at the American League. Leave him there. Leave him alone. Okay? I don't want him coming up yet. Okay? Stop it. Quinn Finley, is he, I heard Quinn Finley is good. Yes, he is good. He's going to be your Zach Parise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to be a first line Zach Parise. I would go more on the third line, Zach Parise. Okay? That's who I'm envisioning Quinn Finley with, at least in terms of a style. How that translates into the NHL, I don't know yet. Does he fit the Islander profile? Absolutely. For now, the closest resemblance in terms of style is a Zach Parise for me. Yeah, he was playing too much. Yep. No, believe it or not, Mark, I think they're setting expectations. The veterans are actually putting up the amount of numbers that they're supposed to be putting up. And Alex Jeffries. William
Brendan
DeFore is
Carlson.
not.
Carlson's doing pretty good too.
Carlstrom, yeah, look out for Carlstrom next season, guys. He's a UFA. I wouldn't be shocked if he was on the Islanders roster next season. But that's another time.
Yeah.
That's another talk for another time.
Just don't look at the standings when it comes to the
No,
AHL. You really can't.
no,
I mean, they don't make the playoffs, whatever, but you just want to see the difference in and again, we kind of look at it in 10-game spurts.
right,
You want to see your guys developing, that they're moving up that ladder.
right.
And guys like Karlstrom, guys like Jeffries, those are the kids you want to see progress. I know somebody mentioned back about Dufour. Has he taken a step back? I don't know, but he's not progressing
No,
to the level that we hoped he was when he was winning
right,
that Memorial Cup.
right. Matthew Maggio's been on the bottom six. He's been on the third or fourth lines. And you also have to remember the AHL is a development league. The coaches have you in specific positions because they want you to learn something, not necessarily because of the goal scoring or whatnot. If you're a goal scorer, they're going to have you work more on your 200-foot game and your defensive game because you already know how to score. At some point, they're going to want you to have it come together fully. And it's maybe just not happening yet for DeFore. It may take him another year, but he's a big power forward. Big power forwards take a little more time than some of these other players. Justin Gill has also looked good. What's his upside? Truthfully, I see him as a first line center for Bridgeport. Maybe a call up or two throughout his career. I like his game. He's kind of like a Bo Horvat for the American Hockey League. If he puts it all together, wonderful. Would love to see him called up. Couple of games, cup of coffee, more than hits the expectations for me. So, is there anything else we missed over the last couple of weeks here, Gary?
I don't know. I think we pretty much covered most of it, I think.
I mean, defensively wise, guys, we're still in a hunt for a playoff. And again, I'm going to use this stat. This is why I still feel the Islanders are in it. Okay. The Islanders have held their teams to 3 goals or less in 70% of their games. Last year was 55%. This year it's 70. The reason why they can't win those games, granted special teams is a problem, but they can't get that extra goal or two that they need because they're injured. But we're now starting to see the kids elevate their game a little bit to make everything a little more competitive. So when these players do come back, it is literally going to be on Patrick Waugh again for another 40 games this season, this upcoming season, to see if he can get them into a playoffs. So again, it is the offense. It really is the offense. This is a league now. We're starting to witness again this year, and this is something I've been taking notice. It is more offense than almost any other year. You need offense to get you those wins. And the Islanders would struggle with that because of the players lost and players like Holmstrom, Siplikov, Wallstrom, McLean. Some of these guys just didn't get it yet. Okay. Luckily, in the short term right now, they seem to be getting it. The question is everyone going to get it when Barzell and Duclair and Pelech come back? And I'll even say this, Romanov doesn't have a goal yet, but Romanov was gone for almost half this season as well. And the Islanders are still here. So at some point, is it all going to come together? Because Gary, I can't see them dropping out of the standings. I can
No.
only see them going up at this point.
Although I heard there was some comment, I don't know where I heard it from, but somebody said that for the rest of the season, strength of schedule, the Islanders are the second worst in the league.
That's fine. Bring it on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say.
Bring it
You
on.
know, that's right.
Bring it on. We don't have Barzell. We don't have Duclair. Give Bo Horvat his line mates. Let's see what the guy can do. Let's see what all three of them can do. No. Romanov does not remind me of Kasperitis. Right now, Romanov is playing like Kasperitis. He's all hits and nothing else. I need to see some offensive production out of him as well. Defensively, I think he's a little better than Kasperitis right now. But I love the fact that he's bringing in the bullying part of Kasperitis into his game, and he's being intimidating. But even I need to see a little more offense out of Romanov at this point. So, all right, we're about 37 minutes in. Water cooler talk. All righty, guys. Gary, brace yourself.
Yeah, I know.
Is Lou getting fired in the offseason? Probably not.
Oh my God.
Here we go. I know it's all coming now. You guys can unleash all those comments, all those fun little comments. Let's do
We
it.
love you guys, but shut your pie hole when it comes to
Yeah,
that.
it's gonna happen. Will our penalty kill get better? Yes. Yes, I think it will. But I think that might also have to get changed in the offseason as well. You know, again, I've said this before. I don't know if Casey's better on the center or at wing at this point in his career. And the same can be said for JG Pageau. Pageau has done very well at wing, but I haven't really seen him score any goals at center. To Pageau's credit and to Casey's credit, they've been mixed around all season long.
Yeah.
So, again, have we really seen this New York Islander team for about 5 games in the beginning of the season? What are we going to get moving forward? That's going to be the question. No, the Metro is not the worst division. It's not. They're in a battle with the Atlantic, but no, I don't think they're the worst division. Yeah, you jerk. I love you guys. Is Lou getting fired?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't see it. Bailey skating at all? Probably.
Yeah, and those things for Northwell Healthway showing the science of hockey.
Clutterback come back by the end of the season. Will he pull a Zach Parise? Mark, that's a great question. I got to leave that up in the open.
But I will say this: on January, I think it's January 25th. There is going to be an alumni game between the Rangers and the Islanders at Madison Square Garden, benefiting the Garden of Dreams Foundation.
Right.
A certain number 15, who you're just showing there, is on the Islanders roster. So I wonder
for the alumni game.
For the alumni game.
Okay. That might answer the question then.
You know, because I don't, I've never heard anything about paper. Usually you hear that paperwork got put in that somebody's retired. Like, when Hickey started doing broadcasting last year, they announced he sent his paperwork in.
Sure.
So, but we never heard with Josh, and we never heard with Cal. So I wonder, has it been done? But, if he's playing on an alumni roster, I don't think you're going to see him on an NHL lineup anytime soon.
Probably not. I'll still have 26 home games left, which is also true. And there's the Big Four Nations Cup break. That's also true, Brian. Like, again, I know you guys hate it that I'm pushing the eliminating of teams back, but this is where we're at. It is a hot mess this year, and you were all warned at the beginning of the season. This particular year was going to be a hot mess for standings. No doubt about it. Does Lou add if the team is fighting for a playoff spot? You know what? If you send Isaiah George down, you can bring him up whenever you want. That's adding someone. Someone on offense, it depends on if anyone's injured, honestly. And Cap, you'd have to work around the Cap with that as well. Oh, no, we're not going there yet. Healthy and in the hunt, putting Queen for the playoffs, and it's one shift at a time. It's kind of magic. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they did look a lot quicker, and that's what Patrick was looking for. He's looking for more of that speed. He's going to get the speed when they all come back. No lie, I would love to see Hickey and Bales as assistant coaches. You put them together as assistant coaches? My goodness.
Yeah, but you know what, I love Thomas Hickey, but he's got too good a hair to be a coach.
I know, he does.
He's a TV guy now.
He would rival a few of them up there.
Josh Bailey, on the other hand, with that bald head, he'd be fine.
Yeah. Oh no, not this one. World Junior should be fun this year. Lots of IELTS prospects. Yes, look for Danny Nelson, Cole Iserman, and look, this is what I want you guys to do, especially with Cole Iserman. Don't just look at the goals that he's probably going to score. I want you guys to watch those World Junior Championships, and I want you to tell me other things that you see out of this kid. We all know he can score. That's good and all. That helps, no doubt. But you really want to see what kind of a 200-foot game this kid is developing while he's down.
What I'm hearing, I don't know how much you've seen, but I've heard that he is working on that, and it's looking a little better.
No doubt. I've seen at least 5 or 6 games so far this year. And again, I don't like to bring prospects up. I don't like to praise them too much. I'm usually very critical, and I do that on purpose. He is working on his 200-foot game.
Yeah, but it was a big concern. I mean,
yes.
a lot of people passed him on the draft is because he's got a great shot. He's got great hands. But if you don't have that whole game with you, you're not, i.e. Oliver Wahlstrom, you're not going to do much. And I guess he's getting the hint and doing it right away.
Sorokin was not going to be on that Russian team, by the way.
No.
Yeah. Sorokin was not going to be on that team. Shesterkin was.
Bob,
and
Vasilevsky.
Vasilevsky. Yeah, those 3 were going to be on the team, actually. I think Dobson's play has been a hiccup. I think it will revert to form and his development will continue. Do you think his play so far will impact the AAV of his eventual contract extension in the organization's favor? Fair question. Do they do another bridge deal? Do they only go a 3-year deal with 1 year into his UFA? Do they do a 4-year deal? It's a valid question, Brian. I would really love to see where Matt Barzal plays a role in Dobson's production and how he comes together as they all come together as a team. I would also probably say if he has a phenomenal playoffs, I think then that would probably get him to that number that I think he's looking for. So, again, we have a lot of questions, good, valid questions going on tonight. They just won't get answered at this point. But, again, they're good questions. Big defenseman that we drafted this year. Yes, he's playing in Liga. He's playing in the Finnish league right now, putting up some decent numbers. But yeah, he's not, they're all playing well. They're all playing well. And again, I don't look at the regular season too much. I tend to look at the playoffs. I tend to look at the back-to-back games. I tend to look at the players under pressure. Where do they start to excel from there? I look at things a little differently. And yeah, we are talking about Pulkkinen right now. Lack of defense in the system. Again, that's what he's learning on. That's why he's back in Liga. He's doing a little bit of everything at the moment. That's why his numbers they're okay, but they're having him work on his defense. He was. I think he's playing again, or he's close to it. So, yeah. If again, let's go back to that Nelson and Palmieri trade scenario. Okay, I did a little extra research for you guys because I know you guys love playing armchair GM. If you guys were to go into free agency next season, if you were to replace Kyle Palmieri's numbers at this point, there is only one player the Islanders would have to target in order to match Palmieri's numbers. And that's Brock Besser out of the Vancouver Canucks. He's the only one, guys. That's how good of a season Palmieri is having. On the flip side, you guys are going to yell at me too. There's only one player above Brock Nelson, free agent wise, who has better numbers or comparable numbers to Brock Nelson at the moment. John Tavares. Gary, I said it with a straight face. I just
you almost
made it.
Got it, Paul.
I just made it. I just made it. So free
Scary
agency,
thought.
guys, you have your choice. You can improve the Islanders from Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri if you sign players like Tavares and Brock Besser. That's what you're getting out of free agency. That's it. You can trade Palmieri. It's got to be a sweetener.
Yeah, you're not going to get what you think you're going to get.
No, and I'll say this. I'm on video somewhere at the beginning of the season. The Devils and Palmieri just sound right to me. It's almost a no-brainer. If the Islanders fall out of, complete playoff contention, Palmieri to the Devils make it's an absolute no-brainer. I said that at the beginning of the season. They would give you your first-round pick. The question is, where would the Devils end up? Because as many of you know, I follow the draft. If it's picks 28 through 32, we're depending on how far the Devils go in the playoffs, you're looking at a second-round pick anyway. They're going to give that to you. So you got to be careful when you're trading Palmieri. You really want to get something back. The number of years will be the key to any new deals for Nelson and Palms. Besser is significantly younger than Nelson, but Besser is a winger. He's not a centerman. Okay, and I agree here. I think everyone's still worried about the amount of years here because Lou is still in charge. He's going to give Brock Nelson an 8-year deal. And if he could sign Kyle Palmieri to a 10-year deal, he would. Okay. And believe me, there's a part of me that agrees with you guys, but we still have the CBA to go through. You also have expansion coming up. Over what, the next year or two, Gary?
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Okay.
There's markets the NHL wants to hit, and they're going to do everything they can to get there.
Right. Guys, in all honesty, and I again, please, if it ever happens, give us the credit. At the end of the CBA and at the end of the expansion, if Pierre Engvall and Scott Mayfield are still on this team, you can rip us to shreds. Rip me to shreds. I've been saying it now for years. Don't rip Gary. Rip me for shreds. But if they're not on this team after the CBA and after the expansion, you better give us credit. Because we've been telling you for years, and you're all still worried about it. That's all I'm asking. As far as Nelson is concerned, You have someone who's still on pace for, give me one moment, 27 goals. Brock Nelson can still get you second line numbers and eventually third line numbers. If he wants to remain an Islander, he will work with Lou on the AAV. Brock could still play a solid 3 years, maybe 4, playing middle 6 numbers if he has to. You can't deny that anymore. This guy's getting better with age. He's honestly, there's a reason why he's been voted onto the Four Nations. He's very much like an Alex Ovechkin in the sense that, no, he's not scoring as many goals, but he's getting better as he's getting older. The Islanders drafted him 28th, 26th. The guy's in the top 5 in his draft class, guys. Top 5. You've got something with Brock Nelson. Kyle Palmieri, in all honesty, maybe a 2-year deal. I think even he knows that. But again, Siplikov, Nelson, Palmieri, they all work together. Yes, Besser is significantly younger than Palms. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, 30th. Guys, Brock Nelson is a top 5 pick in that draft, the 2012 pick. Yeah. We traded up to get him. Okay, I understand your issues with the length of the contract, no doubt. Honestly, though, well, let me ask you guys, because we don't know. We haven't asked. We don't know. I don't want to get in trouble yet. How many years would you like to see for Brock Nelson? How many years do you want for Brock Nelson? 3, 4, 5? Probably not 5.
I'd go 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah. 3.
That's 3's another one. Okay. Thomas. Oh. 3 for Brock. Can do 4 at a lower AAV. I'm okay with that, Brian.
Yeah.
Especially if the salary cap continues to go up. Brock, 4 years. Okay, so we're all in agreement here. 3, 4 years, depending on the AAV. Brock would do that. No doubt. No doubt. And then, the contract becomes a little more, it becomes easier to manage, especially on the AAV. Does Brock want to go 3? Probably. Probably. What's he, 4th now? 3rd? I'm sorry, 4th or 5th in games played? He's right there. Or is he top 7 in games played? He's somewhere like that. I'm just spitballing here. Yeah, good with 4th with a lower AAV. Now, here's something with Kyle Palmieri. Would I bring him back for a year? Probably. 2 years? But we're watching the emergence of Simon Holmstrom. Okay, Holmstrom can also play with Brock. Is Simon giving us enough to say, maybe we can just say goodbye to Kyle Palmieri? I'm not sure.
By the way, Brock Nelson is 2 away from 5th.
Okay, I knew he was close.
30 away from 4th. Bobby Nystrom's got 900 at 4th.
Right. 2 for Palms, 3 at a lower AAV. Okay. That's fine. Again, there's no right or wrong answer here, guys. I'm not looking for the magic GM numbers here. I'm just looking for opinions on Palms. Okay. I can tell you right now, Alex Jeffries is going to be the left winger. William DeFore may need 2 more years. Okay. If we're looking strictly from a draft development standpoint, DeFore's at least 2 years to replace someone like Palms. No doubt. Simon Holmstrom is starting to show some signs. I don't know if he's going to be a 30-goal scorer. I would not put that much on him. But again, Oliver Wahlstrom seems to be putting it together, at least on a third line. I'd love to see him, check a little more, a little more of a 200-foot game, no doubt.
Mhm.
And again, Siplikov could probably use a few more goals, no doubt, but he's starting to get the game as well. I think with Palmieri, it's going to be determined by both Holmstrom and Siplikov. If they both bring their goals up to another level, you could see Palms go. It's just, I trade Palm. The farm system really needs help. No. Oh,
Oh God, here you go. You did it, Mark. You did it.
the farm system is in the NCAA, guys. They're all in the NCAA going for national championships. They're there. We just don't talk about them. Well, no one else talks about them. I'm the only one that talks about them, which is why I'm the only one that gets pissed off here. They're there. Oh. Cameron Berg, North Dakota. They're all ranked. All the Islander players are freaking ranked in the U.S. They're all like top 10, top 15. Cameron Berg can play third line or fourth line center next season for the Islanders if they wanted to. Alex Jeffries just got out of Merrimack. He's in the American Hockey League now. Danny Nelson's in Notre Dame. He could play for Bridgeport right now. They don't want to. Oh. Cole Iserman could be in Bridgeport right now. He's not old enough. Guys, I'm going through every player right now. You're pissing me off, okay?
And that's why, and that's also why the CHL and the NCAA made that agreement.
Yes. Yes. Do you know how many CHL players are transferring to the NCAA? NCAA hockey is going to be hot. Starting next season, I'm going to bring Mike McMahon back on because that poor guy's been busy all over the place with the NCAA. I'm probably going to have him on while the World Juniors is here too. I'm listing you all the Isles prospects. I didn't even mention Quinn Hughes out of Wisconsin. Not Quinn Hughes. Oh, Quinn Finley.
Quinn Finley.
We just brought him up before. They're all in the NCAA. They're there. They have the prospects. What they need to do is just continue to build. All they need is just to continue to draft at bare minimum their own draft picks. If you want to trade Palms, fine. Let's have some fun here. If you want to trade Palms, you got to get I would probably go a right D prospect and a first round pick, minimum. Palms right now is destroying everybody. He's on a 30-goal pace. You put him on a team with the Devils, forget it. Scholes is also in Wisconsin. Got Mark, no GM, and I've been told this by so many people, no GM follows those rankings. Those rankings are for entertainment purposes only. How many years has Tampa Bay and Boston been ranked 30th, 31, 32, 29, 28, 27? They're always in the playoffs. The draft itself, here we go again. The draft itself is probably going to shrink from 7 rounds to about 5 because the NCAA is doing what they're doing right now. The whole draft and development thing is going to change. Old men ice hockey players, they want this expansion because they want jobs. Because by the time these kids are coming out of the NCAA, they're going to be 23, 24, 25, 26, whatever.
And
in their primes, ready to go.
Yeah,
and they're
not
going to be
AHL
pennies
ready,
on the dollar.
NHL ready.
Right. They're going to be NHL ready. And they're going to replace all these old guys. It's an entirely new form of free agency coming up, which is why the older players want expansion. They want their jobs. They want to keep their jobs. Don't worry about the drafting and development. It's going to change at some point. Forget about those stupid rankings. No GM pays attention to them. They're for entertainment purposes only. Look at Isaiah George. Perfect example. If everyone knew Isaiah George was going to do what he was going to do, the Islanders would not be ranked 31st or 32nd. They would have been 28th, 27th, or 26th, whatever. All those rankings are just for entertainment purposes only. I appreciate that, Charles. The prospects are there, guys. They are there. If McLean can't get the field plowed, I like that. I think we keep Palms as a bird in hand. Just comes down to term and no trade clause. Listen, to be honest with you guys, for me, I want to see how the centers play for the rest of the season. I want to see who's at center. I want to see how they play. I want to see how all the lines get together. That's where I want to go. Let me see J.G. Pajot with Anders Lee and Simon Holmstrom. Let me see Casey Zizekas probably with Kyle McLean and Oliver Wahlstrom. Let me see how they all play. We know what Brock can do. We know what Bo can do. I got to see those four centers. If Pajot and Zizekas are better off at wing, that's going to be something I would be more focused on in the future in the summer. Listen, I'm going to say this now. Mark, this is an excellent comment here. Lee is having a great year. Instead of owing him an apology, we all owe money to that Jam Cancer Foundation as an apology. We all owe him money for that. We all owe him money.
And send Adam Oates a bottle of bourbon.
Yes. Yep. And Adam Oates won't come to the Islanders to work because Adam Oates is making a ton of money. What he's doing right now.
Right now. Exactly.
He's not coming to the Isles, guys. He's been doing it for years.
You tell me the last time you saw Anders Lee be behind somebody as he's trying to skate back to defend and pass them and break a play up. I mean, that's something you never thought. If you were sitting here last December and we had that sentence, you would laugh in our faces. Big time.
Yep.
But he has done, and again, that's a testament not only to what the work that Adam Oates did, but it's a testament to Anders Lee, the man.
Yep.
That man knows the meaning of hard work and determination. He's learned it all his life growing up in Minnesota, playing in Notre Dame, and here. And he's one that cares. So if you think Anders Lee is a bad captain, you are not looking in the right place, my friend.
Lou has put the Islanders in cap. All right, listen, Thomas. When the cap relief comes, you're buying me dinner. I'm coming to Long Island. You're buying me dinner.
Good steak dinner, right?
It's going to be a big steak dinner, boy. Let me tell you, this is going to cost you. Okay? No one knows the salary cap better than Lou Lamoriello. Nobody does. The problem everyone has is that Lou is still 3 years ahead of everyone when it comes to the cap and its direction, save for the COVID seasons. COVID seasons messed up his numbers a little bit, along with every other general manager's. Okay, Lou knows the cap and what's going on and everything else. The Islanders aren't going to be in cap hell, especially when the prospects get back from college. You're going to see exactly what's going to happen. Oh, look, Adam Pelech went down. Who came up? Isaiah George. Okay, you're going to see that. Oh, look, Anders Lee went down. Here comes Alex Jeffries. Okay, it's all going to happen like that. And I've said this now on the show quite a few times. The Islanders are going to be a team in transition over the next couple of seasons. Going to be out with the old, in with the new, but it depends on the kids and when they're ready. Gary,
Sir.
do you need to go? Are you all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Any other
good.
final questions, comments, concerns, boys and girls? Oh, I love you guys. I do. Sometimes it's just the same questions week after week after week,
But
though,
that's okay. We'll answer.
and that's okay.
You know, we try to be a little more respectful than some of the other broadcasts you might follow. And you know, we seem to be objective, I think. Hopefully we are.
Yeah. Believe me, I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you when the Islanders are out of the playoffs. And the Islanders were 3 days away from missing the playoffs last year. 3. And they will be. They'll be bargains in 3 years. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, Mark. We love you. You know I love you. The prospects are here, though. What the Islanders need to do is to continue to draft. And that's with any GM who comes in. And I'll say this now, to everyone's credit. I know you guys want Lou gone. Let me help with that. The Islanders owe Lou a respectable farewell. If next year is his last year, it would be easier for Islander fans if the Islanders announced like another special assistant to Lou Lamoriello, who would probably take over the duties under Lou Lamoriello, something very similar to what Nashville did with Dave Poyles last year, and they hired Barry Trotz. That would be a way to go. And then you do something again at the draft. You let Lou make the final selection. You make the first round selection. You send them off that way. That's what you do with Lou Lamoriello. If Islander fans had any kind of news that someone else was coming in and it was a peaceful transition, I think Islander fans would not be doing what they're doing now. And it's understandable. Then again, I don't know. We said 6 years ago Chris was probably going to be the next GM anyway. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, that's still on the table, but you know, we'll we'll see. Yeah. It could be Johnny. Okay, it could be Johnny Boychuk. It could be Chris Lamoriello. Honestly, the next general manager needs to have a good eye on player development. It's going to be essential because the draft is probably going to shrink. The NCAA is going to be growing vastly. And you're going to need to have a good eye on the talent. So, yes, a younger GM, but you're going to have to start picking the way Lou has. Because in all honesty, yes, there have been injuries this year. But who's come up to help? Dennis Chalowski. Who signed him? Lou. Grant Hutton. Who signed him? Lou. Isaiah George. Who drafted him? Lou. Lou is fixing his own problems at the moment. It's very difficult for general managers to do these days.
And a lot of GMs are doing similar things as Lou, right. But what's going to happen, like as Paul said, what's going to happen in the next 3 or 4 years, a typical 15-year-old Canadian kid that's got a lot of talent that lives in, say, Sudbury, Ontario, would normally go to the Sudbury Wolves. You know what? He may not be thinking about that anymore. He may be thinking about going to the University of Michigan. He may be thinking about going to BC or BU. Those Canadian kids stayed in the CHL.
Right.
But now they've got that opportunity. They can go to the CHL when they're 16 or 17. And then when they're 18, they can say, you know what? Thanks. I appreciate this, but I want to get my degree. I want to go to Ohio State University. I want to go to University of Alaska Anchorage or wherever there's a good NCAA program that they want to get themselves into. They're going to go. They're not going to do the 4-year route in juniors. They're going to go to the college because the college game is going to go like this and shoot overhead of the Canadian Junior Hockey League in the next 5 years. I guarantee you that it's going to happen. And that's where Lou has been going to get some talent, is out of those Division I schools, and even Merrimack, of all places. But that's the way to go. And you said sometimes he's a little bit ahead of the game. I mean, he was a college guy, so he's always been in that game.
Charles, I'm going to go a step further. I think the draft, I think you're still going to get a good crop of CHL players in that first round who are 17 or just turning 18. I think they are still going to be there in the CHL. However, you could still see some draftees coming out of the NCAA, but free agency, you're going to see them coming more out of the NCAA. I think it's going to be a little mix of both. I think you're going to get a little more coming out of the draft out of the NCAA, but I think you're going to see more of the free agency coming out of the NCAA, because not only are these junior kids from the CHL, now they're going to Canada. That's one level, as far as I'm concerned, it's one level lower than the American Hockey League. These junior kids, these overagers going to college would be better than going to the East Coast Hockey League. I think the East Coast Hockey League is in a little bit of a trouble. But I think for now, in terms of development, these kids who don't get drafted, they go to college, their game improves, they have a better chance of landing in the pros than they would if they stayed longer in the CHL, and then they really have to work their way up.
Yep. Agreed.
Lou is underrated by Isles fans, and and look, even Matt Martin said the same thing. Matt Martin and a lot of the players, they don't like the way Lou's been treated by the fans. Look, and again, I've showed you guys on the displays before. The Islanders were $115 million in the hole when they walked into UBS Arena. After this season, clean slate. Should be. I'll find out those numbers very soon for you guys. $115 million in the hole from the day-to-day operations. What team's making the playoffs? I'm sorry, what team's winning the Stanley Cup? No one. You were literally an expansion team 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. Literally an expansion team. You've gotten yourselves a little better. Give the kids a little more time. Let's see what Barzell, let's see what Duclair and Pellick do when they come back. We'll be back next week. Gary, do you got to go real quick? I'll stick around with these guys for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to head off. Yeah, and like I said, I'm not going to be on next week because I'm having some oral surgery done. So I just want to wish everybody a great holiday, because obviously after next week we'll be off for the holidays. Maybe we might have a show on a weekend. Who knows?
We'll see.
But like I said, I'm on it at Isles Met 63. And like I said, don't give up the ship. And these guys get back. Give it about 10 games after we get back healthy, and then let's talk about what the state of the team is going to be. Don't rip them yet.
Agreed. So, all righty, bud. I'll stick around with these guys for a little longer, but then, we'll sign out. But we'll see you next week.
I'll talk to you soon, bud.
Yep.
Cheers.
Yep.
Wait, I gotta come off.
Come on, get out.
I'm getting out.
Get out.
No,
not me, you jerk.
Turn me off.
That's better. Get off. Jeez. Lord. That's better. There we go. Finally. All right. Will there be a cap on what college players can make in free agency? You know what? I think that's going to be part of the CBA, Charles. I think that's a great question. That's going to be part of the CBA coming up, which, again, ends next season. The CBA, the old CBA, is going to be ending next season. That's what we're going to probably determine. I see the growth of hockey academia a la Notre Dame out west. Hopefully, a play for Division III hockey. Hopefully, again, yes, that's true. Prairie leagues, a dream, but that would be just as best as an education, maybe. Maybe. Look, I played Division III basketball. Got me into Division II for a little bit. You never know. You never know. So, any other questions, comments, concerns, you guys? Great show. Love talking to you guys. Listen, for me, we're so close to getting Barzell. We're so close to getting Duclair back, and we're close to getting Pellick back. Sit back. You got some time in the standings, believe it or not. I now I don't want to say feel sorry for Ranger fans, but the Rangers are in trouble. The Rangers are in some big trouble. Boston, we'll see what happens there, but let these players come back. No one's getting eliminated anytime soon. Beat the Hawks the next 2 games. I agree, no doubt. And in another week or two, when everyone's back, like Gary said, maybe we are talking playoffs. Because again, with the Rangers doing what they're doing, there's no clear winner in this Metro Division. There is no clear winner at this point. The playoffs are going to determine your division rankings here for the rest of the season. And it's just the way it's going to be. So keep your chin ups. Point's a point. And if you guys want to talk about the loser points next week, I might be able to dive into that a little bit more. I have my reasoning why I still like that and why I'm not a big fan of the 3-2-1. I understand why everybody wants it, but I think it's going to be a hinder as well. So we can have a healthy debate on that next week. 1-0 Rangers. That's not what I wanted to see, Thomas. Thomas, I need to see more optimism out of you for the rest of this season. Okay? If the Rangers are winning, don't show that to us. Show us when Buffalo is going to beat the Rangers here. Okay? A little more optimism out of you, Thomas. Yeah, the Sabres have got some things going on as well. Like I said, I give every team in the Eastern Conference credit for staying around for as long as they have. The Pens have had some trouble. The Senators have had some trouble. The Sabres have had some trouble, but you can't eliminate them yet. 4-0 Ottawa. Stay healthy, right? 4-0 Ottawa. Thanks, Thomas. Not helping. Still not helping. But no, listen, we'll be back next week. If we want to talk about the loser points, we can talk about the loser points. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about next week? In 2 weeks, believe it or not, I was going to try to bring on Mike McMahon. We're going to try to cover the Isles prospects again, like we always do. I'm also, it's going to be World Junior time. I have to get the right timing with that. I'm going to see if I can get Shane Malloy. You know what? I'm not surprised by the Capitals. Joe at the beginning of the season had Carolina up there. I had the Capitals in the playoffs. As high as they are, no. And this is the thing that's going to really surprise a lot of people. I think they may do well in the playoffs. I'm not sure yet. They've got a bunch of older players who have, yes, won the Stanley Cup, but they're far and few in between. But there's a couple of players on there. There's a good chunk of them that are two-time Calder Cup champions in the American Hockey League. That's a team that knows how to win playoff games. They know what it takes. So, but I'm with you, Rodney. If the Capitals can't sustain 120-point pace, which they may not, this division's up for grabs. But you got to get into the playoffs. You got to get there first, and it's going to be very, very. They're going to be a ton. It's going to be so much fun to watch. Because look, it's not Pittsburgh anymore. It's not the Rangers. It's not. It might be the Capitals, but this is like a new generation of the Capitals here. Carolina, we have to see what they're going to do. The Lightning have surprised me as well, but you know what? again, I still like the Leafs coming out of that division, believe it or not. Shocking to say that. But I still think the Leafs are going to come out of that division. I'm hoping I'm wrong. But there's something about the Leafs. I like the way their whole structure is. And Florida's been going at it for a while now. I don't know. Tampa doesn't seem to have it all together yet, but I think they may make a trade or two or whatnot. But we'll see. Again, it's still September 11th. So yeah, playoffs are still there for every team at the moment. Maybe in 2 weeks' time, it may not be, but it looks good competitive wise, in the Eastern Conference. Again, when the playoffs start, I don't even think the numbers are going to matter. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think they're going to matter. At least that's what I'm looking at right now. So, any other questions, comments, concerns before we call it a night? All right. Got to figure the Rags will add on with the salary relief from trading Truba. All right. I will say this on the Rangers without getting in trouble. To say that the Rangers are a mess is a unit of measurement. They're worse than a mess right now, like organization wise. There's a lot of things going on in that organization. You would hope the Islanders, you would hope the Rangers would do something like that to get themselves in the playoffs. But it's like I said at the beginning of the season, this was the division for the Rangers to lose. And the Rangers are on the verge of losing this division. That even means the playoffs. The Rangers are a mess, and I'm using that as a unit of measurement right now. And I think you're going to see more stories unfold. I think a lot of the New York reporters are going to be very, very busy when it comes to the Rangers and future drama that's going to be coming to them over the next 6 months, if not longer. If you're an Islander fan, just sit back and watch that show that are the New York Rangers at the moment. That's all I'll say about that. I've been asked to keep my mouth shut on the Rangers, so respectfully, I will. But I don't know if I can count the Rangers in any kind of playoff talk. I think I will for now. I'll stick with my work, but and I'll keep them in there for now. But they're a mess. They're bad. They're bad. No truth. No. Brady Tkachuk to the Rangers is a no. No. There's going to be some. Let's put it to you this way: the New York reporters that follow the Rangers, that cover the Rangers, they will not be. There will always be enough work for them to do moving forward for quite a while. So, if you want to follow that, go right ahead. Other than that, boys and girls, is there anything you guys want me to talk about next week? I may go over the reason why I like the point standings where they are. Instead of going to the 3-2-1 system, we can bring that up very, briefly if you want. We're gonna have Joe on next week. Joe's got a couple of things to talk about as well. We may still bring on a guest as well. But is there anything you guys want us to talk about that we can have an open discussion with? It's best to avoid the Rangers at the moment. Let them try to figure out what's going on over there. So, all right, boys and girls, thank you so much for coming on. Don't forget to follow me at P_Kreischer on X. Please follow us on Facebook, on X. Please hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. The numbers have been going up for us. We love it. We appreciate you guys all the time. We love having you on. And we'll see you guys next week. Let's go Islanders. And happy holidays for those of you celebrating Hanukkah and Christmas soon, just in case we don't have a show. But we'll see you guys sometime next week if there aren't any changes. So having said that, let's go Islanders, and we'll see you guys next week.